You think things are expensive now? Justin Trudeau just threatened to impose a grocery tax. No kidding, just a play out of Jagmeet Singh's playbook. He's reaching for straws here with his sinking poll numbers and the big popularity rising with conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and the things that he's been saying. Now, Justin Trudeau just had this speech today where he's talking about, and I'll get into it, his GST cut on new builds of apartment buildings, as if that's a big crucial thing that people developers are getting into. This is Justin Trudeau threatening to impose a new tax on groceries.
It's not okay that our biggest grocery stores are making record profits while Canadians are struggling to put food on the table. So Minister Champagne will be calling on the heads of large grocers to come to Ottawa with a plan to address the rising cost of food. And we expect to hear from them by Thanksgiving on what their plan is to stabilize prices. And the
government can't do that. They only have one tool. And here it comes.
And let me be very clear. If their plan doesn't provide real relief for the middle class and people working hard to join it, then we will take further action, and we are not ruling anything out, including tax measures.
Listen to them cheer. Listen to them cheer. This is insane. Prices are crazy high because of inflation. Inflation is out of control because of government spending. And you're going to add more burden to the people out there that are just trying to feed their families. No, this is, holy cow, this is unbelievable. And then add on top of this the carbon tax that everybody's paying in their food. Where do you think that carbon tax is going to end up when you're taxing fuel at every level of the food production? The whole food chain here is getting taxed at every single level. It's compounded from the fuel that the farmers use to sow the seeds, to then reap the crops, and then put them in packages and send them on trucks. This is insane. And yes, the food prices are largely going up because of this guy right here. And he's threatening to impose a tax because of what? Record profits? Have you not ever considered that possibly the reason why grocery stores are making more money is because you're bringing more people into the country. There's more people eating food. This is just unbelievable. So people on social media obviously taking to this really quickly, saying, Marty up north here saying, this man is a complete lunatic. Any new tax imposed on grocery chains will be passed down to the consumer. He has absolutely no idea how supply and demand works. We have Franco Terrazzano nails it, throwing it right out of the park. This is, of course, Franco Terrazzano of the Taxpayer Federation. Just as soon as he heard it, put it out on Twitter, and this is what he had to say.
Breaking news, folks. It looks like Trudeau is threatening a grocery store tax. It sounds too crazy to believe, but I just finished watching a press conference where he said he's going to bring grocery store owners to Ottawa, and they got to come up with a plan to lower grocery prices. And if they can't come up with the plan that Trudeau likes, he says he might impose, quote, tax measures.
Holy cow.
Can you believe that? Like, what do you think that means? You think that means Trudeau's going to lower taxes? Well, I think that means he's going to bring in a grocery store tax, a tax on groceries. Well, here's a problem. Taxes aren't going to make groceries more affordable. It's Trudeau's carbon tax that's making groceries more expensive, making it more expensive for farmers to use natural gas or propane on their farms, making it more expensive for the truck driver that delivers groceries to the store, more expensive to fill up their big rig with diesel. And when Trudeau's carbon tax makes it more expensive for farmers to produce food and truckers to deliver food, he's making it more expensive for you to buy the food. So we got to fight back on this. No way can we allow a federal government to even muse about a grocery store tax. Instead, Trudeau should immediately do the one thing that would make life more affordable, including groceries, and scrap the carbon tax. But don't worry, folks, we are going to fight this. There's no way that we want to hear our Prime Minister even musing about a grocery store tax. More to come. Stay tuned, folks.
This is absolutely insane. Of course, we're all saying the same thing. The prices have gone up because of their taxes that they've already imposed on us. Wow, what an interesting concept. It's not that hard to follow. But hey, you know, this is Justin Trudeau. Keith Wilson taking to Twitter to say the best plan to stabilize grocery prices is to call an election. Fire this ideological extremist liberal, all of them. Cancel the compounding carbon tax and unshackle our energy economy. Absolutely. That would be a way to make things cheaper for Canadians. Going after the grocery store. What is this? It's just insanity. Andy Lee on Twitter saying Trudeau is considering punishing hungry Canadians for inflation his government created by putting a tax on groceries paid for by said hungry Canadians and funneled into government coffers. This is why you don't let people who don't think about monetary policy run a country. Absolutely. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, this is where he's getting these ideas from, this idiotic coalition that they have in Ottawa right now with Jagmeet Singh. Of course, you know, the socialist who he's just doing the same old shtick all the time, talking about record profits for grocery stores. Well, consider this. Maybe it's because of all the immigration that you're bringing into the country. When there's more people to feed, more people buy groceries. And grocery stores, they make a profit based on how much groceries they sell. It's not that hard. Get it through your head. Seriously.
You won't believe the news that I read today. Sobeys, one of the large corporate grocery stores in Canada, just posted a 52% increase in profits in the first quarter on food alone. Now, this comes as no surprise.
Yeah, they sell food, you idiot. I'm sorry. I really can't do this anymore. I don't like to throw out like name calling, things like this, but that is just idiotic. It is completely stupid what's going on, and it's not a surprise why the poll numbers are changing, and they're going drastically over to the side of the Conservatives that are speaking, well, that's the slogan, common sense. It's not hard to understand that if you put taxes on all of the supply chain that leads to people eating food, that the price of food will go up. This is just absurd. Yes, and it looks like if there was an election today, it would be a majority Conservative Party based on this poll, and all the polls are showing this. Justin Trudeau approval polling, 58% approval rating, 30 disapproval rating. Approval is only 37% based on this poll, but Carl Harrison pointing out on this chart that it's now starting to shift firmly against Trudeau. There was a somewhat approve option was there a somewhat approve option in the poll? That is important. Angus Reid, Trudeau tracker, has the Prime Minister approval at just 33% now. And here we go. This is the results. If the election was tonight in British Columbia, lefty British Columbia is going hard Conservative. They don't only a sprinkling of NDPs, and we all know where that's from. We have polling coming. This is those angry about Canada's housing market. Of course, 74%. And look at the age demographics, 81% in the young groups, 69% in the old group. You know, boomers, they largely own their own properties at this point. But yeah, it's all the younger demographics, even 50 to 64. 70% are angry about the Canada's housing crisis, you should call it. It's not even just about the market. Canadians who say they're angry about X, economy topping the list. Stories in the news, 62%. Well, maybe because the poll didn't ask, why are you angry about the stories? Maybe because they're lying to you? Maybe that's why. But this is what's happening. 63% topping with the economy here. Voting intention among 18 to 29-year-olds has shifted hard for the Conservative Party. That never happens. That never happens. Young people, they always say, you know, if you're young and you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart. And if you're old and you're not a conservative, you don't have a brain. That's just a phrase. You know, feel free to use that on all you like. But Trudeau, because of these poll numbers, is coming out and actually addressing the issues that the Conservatives have been talking about. Just announced we've reached an agreement with London, Ontario to build more than 2,000 homes over the next 3 years. And thousands more in the years to come. This will help people, from young families to students to seniors, an affordable place to call home. Now, you're making apartment buildings. You're making apartment buildings. People want homes. We have more land in Canada than we know what to do with. You could just release some of that crown land and allow people to build on that and stop with the regulations. Crazy, and the taxes that are being imposed on everyone here. And of course, you know, this is him making his announcement that he's going to eliminate the GST on apartment buildings, like as if that's a big part of the housing construction industry right now. If it is big, it's only big in urban centers, not the rest of rural Canada, where people are suffering massively in this economy. It's terrible.
Pleased to announce that we are going to be removing the federal GST for the construction of new apartment buildings, and I'm encouraging all provinces to do the same.
Yay! Wasn't this your campaign thing, something in your campaign back in 2015? I think you were promising this. Oh, only 8 years too late, and only when the Conservatives are now coming across and promising all this stuff on housing and economy and all of this stuff. That's when you do it. Sounds like pandering to me. It really does. But of course, this is the story that the mainstream media wants to talk about. They were all queued up, ready to go with the GST on new rental housing being reduced. I mean, this isn't what the average Canadian is spending money on. This is only big corporations that are building, housing, these apartment building complexes. This isn't Canadians getting a reduction in taxes. That's just trying to possibly get some big lucrative contracts through. Of course, CBC also running this story as well. And also grocery prices. But that's adding more taxes. Danielle Smith pointing out that just when we had enough of the carbon tax, Ottawa has decided to introduce new taxes on homes. Oh, yes, new taxes on homes. Right. So homes that people would be building, yeah, those are getting more taxes. New home builds would cost at least $35,000 more for families in Alberta, $71,000 in Ontario due to new green requirements. So houses are about to get more expensive in an industry or in an economy where we have a massive shortage on housing and a downward turning economy. The prices of these building materials are still going up, by the way. That's not coming down. We need Canadians, especially young Canadians, to start speaking up for an affordable future where home ownership is available to more people, not less. And this is them. This is them bringing that up. And, Better Dwelling with this article saying Canadian housing investments correcting at the fastest rate since the 1980s bubble pop. Now, this is absolutely true. Canadians are not getting more into building houses. Construction projects are dwindling. There's less construction projects on the horizon as the prices of housing drops. A lot of people don't want to invest in a big expensive endeavor, a big expensive investment to sell off a house. They're not getting any cheaper. Like I said, lumber and all the materials to build these homes is not getting cheaper, but what is getting cheaper is the return on the investment, and it hasn't hit the bottom yet. So investors are just putting a halt on all of this stuff. And of course, yeah, they're bringing in more and more people into the country. Pierre Poilievre says 8 years ago, the Liberals promised that they would remove the GST from new rental housing. 6 years ago, they broke that promise. Today, after catching wind of my plan to axe the housing tax, they have flip-flopped yet again and try to take credit for this whole scenario. But what are they talking about in the mainstream media about Pierre Poilievre? Oh, about him talking on an airplane to a bunch of the delegates from the Conservative convention that were flying back with him on the same plane, a chartered flight, by the way. And this is the news that they want to talk about in this. Anyway, I want to leave this one with you guys before this video gets too long. What do you even think of this? I'm completely just at a loss of words with this whole concept of in an economy where people are having a hard time feeding themselves and their families, to threaten to impose a grocery tax. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.